So greetings to everybody. So we continue on this 7th chapter of Bodhicharyavatara on diligence, and we are now on stanza number 44 of this chapter. First I'll read out the English and then I read the Tibetan, and then I'll try to explain a little bit. We are now in the discussing the four forces, and the first four is force of aspiration, and how to generate a good aspiration, how to transform ourselves. And we talked about the negative side, the shortcomings, or the harm that will fall if we do negative deeds. And now this is about what good result will there be if we do positive actions. So here, through virtue, I will rest within the cool heart of a fragrant spreading lotus, with splendor nurtured by the sweet words of the conqueror. Then from the lotus opened in the sage's light, in supreme form I will arise, to dwell the blissful Buddha's air in presence of victorious ones. So this in Tibetan is Jache Trizang Silvi Pemi Imburne Jalvi Sonye Sechi Sese Pa Tu Jiji Pemalijo Lunchuche Jalvindini Dechesis Gevaranger. So what he is saying here is that if we are practicing in a positive way, living in a positive way, practicing Dhamma, then we could be born in pure land of a Buddha, and that is he's describing that Jachi Trizang. Through the virtue I will rest within the cool heart of a fragrant spreading lotus. The Jachi means like spacious. When we are born in the human world, even if human world is regarded as one of the best, we have to stay in the mother's womb for 9 months or almost 10 months. And that womb is not spacious, it's quite small and very kind of restricted area. So here it says Jache, spread out, very spacious. Trizang, fragrant, because in the Pure Land we are born from a lotus flower, and that lotus flower in which we are conceived is very spacious and have a very nice smell, so that's why it's fragrant, unlike in the mother's womb, which is not always a good smell. So the virtue I will rest within the cool heart of a fragrant spreading lotus, not too hot, not squeezed in a small space, not with bad smells, but in very good fragrant smell. With splendor nurtured by the sweet words of the conqueror, I don't need to, eat or drink, blood and all kind of things, waste from the as in the womb, but I am nurtured by because I can hear the sounds or the teachings of the Buddhas in the lotus flower. So nurtured by the sweet words of the conqueror, the Buddha. Then from the lotus opened in the sage's light, and then when the time comes, the lotus flower just opens, so we don't have to go through the pain and the strong kind of suffering of going through the birthing process, but just the lotus opens, and then we are there in front of the Buddha. Lotus opened in the sage's light, in supreme form I will rise. I'm not a very kind of weak and undeveloped fetus or undeveloped baby where I cannot move, I cannot do anything, I cannot even stand up, not like that, but already grown up, already strong, already fully ripened body. Supreme form I will arise to dwell the blissful Buddha's air, and I've already become a Bodhisattva, so therefore I am heir of a Buddha in presence of victorious ones. So I am in the presence of the Buddha and many, many Bodhisattvas. So what he's saying is that, because of practice or doing my positive things, I will be in the most wonderful life that we cannot even imagine now in this world. Now this is, in a way, something in which many people cannot imagine or understand. But, if you a little bit understand the consequences of how we become, suppose we are talking not about life after life, but just one life. Then, when we are a child, so if we study well, if we, are a good child, act in a positive way, listen to what good advices of our parents and of our teachers, and follow a very positive, lifestyle, and learn all the positive things and train in those positive actions, then we'll become a good person, a positive person, and that will prepare us to become a good human being, well-respected human being, who can do very good things for himself or herself, and which can also do many positive good things for other people. We can see it. It's already, everybody knows that. So it's the same thing, just about, when we talk about karma and when we talk about training and, doing positive actions and negative actions, the same thing. If we, because what we train, that will become our way of thinking, our way of acting, our way of doing, our habitual tendencies. So therefore, if we train our mind to be kind, compassionate, positive, patient, always doing something that is helpful, useful, that is beneficial, and we don't do anything that's harmful, that's doing something, bringing some bad results for ourselves, for others, then we become like that. So when we become like that, then our whole environment becomes like that. Our environment is kind of happens because of how we are. If I am a drinker, a gambler, somebody who is who likes to do lots of negative things, and then immediately I will have lots of people who are doing the same thing. I reach in that community. I will arrive in that kind of surrounding and in that kind of people, within those kind of company. I can, if I'm drinking, then I will have drinking friends. If I'm gambling, I would have gambling friends. If I am smoking, I would have lots of smokers around me. But if I'm not drinking, if I'm not gambling, if I'm not smoking, then naturally I will be surrounded by people who are not drinking, who are not gambling, who are not smoking. And so therefore, my world, my environment will be like how I am. So therefore, I think in one way it is, people say, difficult to understand the karma. But in another way, it's not difficult at all. It's very obvious. It's completely there all the time. The way I am, everything around me are also in that way, more or less. Of course, it's not just one by one that I do this, so therefore that happens, things like that. It's not. It's more complicated than that, because there are so many causes and conditions and like that. So therefore, what I want to become, in this life, or in next life, or in the next to next lives, whatever I want to become, I have to do that. I have to train that. I have to aspire in that way. So therefore, that is very important. So if whatever environment, whatever situation that I want to be, and I want to enjoy that situation, I have to aspire, and I have to try to live now at this moment. So therefore, when I can do that, then it will be that. So therefore, if I do positive actions with my body, with my speech, and especially with my mind, then I will have a positive life, positive experience in the future. So therefore, if I want that, then I must train on that. I must practice on that. Even if, some of the things that are negative, or that are, that I'm interested in, is, if it is, harmful to myself and others, if it is not the right thing, then I should not do it. I should train myself. I should, aspire myself not to indulge in those things, but in more positive, and then that will be very good for me. So this is the main understanding. So this is kind of then the in short, then what is the result of negative actions? Shinji shipi papa malu shipi shindu nyanta rada tsawi mei yupi sejin lula luchir la marvi rada nontonki na shayi tamba jarla shindu marvi jochi sayir rongwa magi mumbur jirs tewi ke la musaki kupanya ta gambur shas. So this is in English 45, stanza number 45. Or else, as wages of my many sins, my skin completely flayed, I shall be utterly brought low by creatures of the Lord of Death, who on my body pour a liquid bronze, all matted in the dreadful blaze, and pierced by burning swords and knives, my flesh dismembered in 100 parts will fall upon the white hot iron ground. So this is a description of hell. So therefore, the opposite of Pure Land of a Buddha is the helldom. So if I do only negative deeds or very strong negative actions, then this will happen. I think I talked about this before also, but all this, this is also said in another place in Bodhicharyavatara, that the heaven is also created by our mind, and hell is also created by our mind. It's not really created by our mind, that I want hell and then there is hell, and I want heaven and there's heaven. No, it's not like that. It's just that, the causes and conditions, the way I think, the way I act, the way I, with my thoughts and emotions and actions, what I do and train myself, I become like that. I create that kind of experience for myself, like we talked about in this life. So therefore, I can easily create a helldom for myself. I can easily create a heaven for myself. If I, only angry, upset, hateful, hurt all the time, it's very easy to create a helldom for myself. So in the same way, I can also create a heaven for myself. So therefore, I really need to deeply think that how I should act and how I should react really is, in a way, in my hands. Not in my hands like whatever I want it to happen, but I need to train, I need to, create the conditions for that. So if I do that, if I understand that, then there is kind of a let me, therefore I will aspire and tend to virtue and steep myself in it with great devotion. So this is the first two lines of the... So I think I stop here. Thank you.